Hey, what's up, man? It's Ivan back in with another video. In this one, I want to talk about something that I feel like is the most important part of training. It's the most important body part. That's the head. The mentality of training, I feel, is by far the most important aspect of training. Um, I feel like it is the mentality that separates the greats from the rest of us. Um, when I think about sports, and I'm thinking about a few different scenarios here, a few different athletes. I grew up playing basketball, and then I obviously started following the NBA, and the NBA is the best league in the world, and I've essentially followed the NBA for the last 15 years of my life, quite in detail. I've watched guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James currently, and then I've also watched a lot of other guys come through the league, huge potential, get drafted quite high, and then nothing really happens with their careers. They just kind of fade out, and it's like they were never there. And so I feel like the mentality is what separated, these greats from the normal guys. Now, to play in the NBA, you need to have skill. It's obvious. But then how do you excel past, the one percenters, which is the NBA, and become the best in the world, the top 10 players in the world? What separates these guys from the rest of us? And I feel like, yeah, sure, ability, some of them are, gifted as hell. They're like 7 feet tall, can jump, can run, can dribble, can do all of that. Some things you can't really train. But, barring that, I think a lot of these guys have gotten there because of their mentality. There have been many guys come into the league with raw potential, and then just basically fade out, and it's like we've never seen them. But the top guys in the league, the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant comes to mind also, LeBron James also comes to mind. These guys are just gifted, or maybe they have learned this, maybe through hardship in their life, early on in their life, to have incredible mentalities. They just are ultra competitive people. They will take no prisoners. They don't like to lose. They train like maniacs. They have work ethics incredible. People say, "Oh, Michael Jordan, he was just born with this leaping ability. He can just float through the air." But no one, like a few people, the people that watch the game and understand the game, they know this. But man, he was like one of the hardest workers ever. He would wake up early in the morning. He would come into the gym, put up 10,000 shots before even the training started. Same with Michael Jordan, same with LeBron James. I don't know whether you guys have watched the NBA, but LeBron James came into the league a raw product. He was big, he was strong, he could run, he could dribble, he could jump, he could do all that stuff, but he didn't have a shot. He had this wonky, follow through. He had this wonky, shot. It was very inconsistent. But look at him now. He's got a very consistent jump shot. Guys can't, step away from him because he'll knock that open jumper. And so he came in with all this potential, with all these expectations, and he got better through hard work. He didn't just get born like that. And so after saying this, I want to scale it back to us normal people, mere mortals, who have jobs, have families, have kids, have responsibilities, and all that sort of stuff. I want to talk about our mentalities. These guys, they're kind of like, the special people in the world who have teams around them, who have, whole clubs, running around them to make sure that they get better, they get their work in. But no one gives a shit about us, right? We still need to put food on the table for ourselves, and we need to kind of go to work, come back, like I mentioned, take care of the kids, the family, and all that. I want to talk about our mentality when it comes to training. And I have spoken to a lot of people throughout my life when it comes to training. Everyone's kind of known Ivan's crazy about training. He's got his little training log, and he's always talking about training. He's always kind of trying to get better, trying to work out the biomechanics of the human body, recovery, science, all that sort of shit. It's just my hobby, right? I love talking about this. I love thinking about this. And so a lot of people have come to me and they've asked me for training programs, for this, that, the other. And I've always said to them, start really, really small. And it's not sexy. No one really wants to hear that. People generally want to have some sort of really cool protocol, some beautiful progression, some amazing, training progression where, I'm guaranteed to put on 100 kilos of my bench press in the next 3-4 years. But that doesn't address the mentality required to get there. So whenever you see somebody lifting crazy ass weight in the gym, just think to yourself, they've put in the work. Okay, you cannot purchase a deadlift. You can't go buy a squat. You can't go buy a bench press. All of these stuff came to these guys through hard work. Now, when somebody mentions hard work, yeah, I think about the lactic acid, I think about the aches and pains of the body. But most importantly, I think about this. I think about what it took up here to get these guys to this level. Because I'm sure of it, that these guys have had many freaking days where they didn't want to get out of bed and go to train. You know, they didn't want to go to train. It was windy, rainy, cold outside. It was too hot outside. Oh, shit, I've got the girlfriend over, the wife wants this. A million things, right? But these guys put in the work. They've accumulated the necessary work to get to this level. And now they're there. And so when somebody new comes to me and says, you know, how do I start? I always say to them, don't join a gym. Because joining a gym automatically implies that you need to put in big workouts. All right? You're putting money down. You're paying this gym access to get access to this place. And so automatically people are like, I'm going to go there, I'm going to train for 2 hours. The point is, your mind is not ready for a 2-hour workout. It might be for the first week or two, but then eventually you're going to start skipping workouts because you're not there mentally. You don't have the drive to get there mentally. What I usually tell people is, don't join a gym. Prove to yourself. Teach your brain to train consistency. Teach your brain consistency. So what I usually tell people is this. Start with push-ups. I don't really care what it is. You know, most females can't really do push-ups from the get-go. Guys generally can. So I usually tell guys, you know, pull-ups or chin-ups or rather push-ups. For the ladies, I usually tell them, you know, do some body weight deadlifts, you know, after they learn the form, or some body weight squats, even better. Do this every single day, right? So what I usually tell people is do a set in the morning when you wake up and do a set before you go to bed. Now, you're not going to get amazing results physically, but you will get amazing results up here. What I mean by this is that they are called, what I'm talking about is mini goals, okay? You cannot just get out of bed one day and decide to run a marathon. Doesn't work like that. It is too daunting, both physically and also mentally. You need to teach your body to get to that level. You know, Kobe Bryant didn't just start putting 10,000 shots first day of training. He didn't do that. He built it up. It's too mentally daunting to think of major stresses when it comes to training. So, but you wake up in the morning, do a set now, and do a set at night. Perfect. You'll probably get some change physically as well because you're getting the noob gains. But most importantly, like I said before, you're teaching your mind consistency. Prove to yourself that you can do this for a month. Okay? Month every single day. It will take you a minute all up to do this shit. It won't take you much longer. So after a month, then you go, okay, I can do this. I want to ramp it up a little bit. Let's do 3 sets. Add another workout, add another exercise. Slowly, gradually build it up. And so it never feels like you need to pump yourself up to go to the gym and train. It just feels like, well, whatever, like it's normal. That's the mentality that I'm talking about when it comes to us. I feel like a lot of us quit the gym, quit wanting to get into shape because it's too bloody hard, man. Who goes from no gym to 2 hours 3 times a day in the gym? It's too much. It's too cold turkey, man. Like, you cannot be doing that sort of stuff. It's not sustainable. For somebody like me who has been training very seriously when it comes to powerlifting and strength training for the last 5 years, I've trained very seriously. I'm usually a self-motivated person. But before that, I played basketball and I was, you know, crazy about that. And I was all about the NBA and all that. So I always had, you know, the self-motivation. So I'm a little bit different, but for people that have never played any sports and they try and get into shape, maybe they've had a child or 2 and they kind of got the baby weight on, they want to get it off. What I usually tell these people is train your mind before you train your body. And you can train your mind by taking small physical steps and then proving to yourself that you can do this. And then eventually, like, you know, you might get to a stage where you're really consistent and then you kind of ramp it up a little bit. And then eventually, okay, you know, you're training now and you can join a gym. But it's important to have mini goals, because if you, from the get-go, say yourself, I'm going to train 2 hours every single night, sooner or later you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm going to skip one tonight. and then eventually you're going to skip another one, and then you're going to skip 2 in a row and 3 in a row, and then you're going to give up altogether. But when you have in your mind, I'm only going to do 1 set every day, there is no freaking excuse to get you out of this one. Everybody has time to do a freaking set of something. Push-ups, chin-ups, bodyweight squats. The freaking CEO of Apple, whoever this person might be, some amazingly busy person or whatever, like pick some other occupation. Everyone's got time to a freaking a set of push-ups. If you got time to take a shit, you got time to take, do a set of some sort of exercise. And so when it comes to mentality, people just overlook it. They think it's just all physical. You just go in there and you smash it. It's not. It's absolutely not. From the greats to us normal people, mentality is what separates the greats from the averages, and then the guys that go to the gym and versus the guys that actually go to the gym. It's because the mentality is different. These guys have trained their psyche to get to this level, and on our level, the guys that stick around in the gym have never been afraid of going to the gym of oh my god, I've got a 2-hour training session. They've kind of eased into that 2-hour session over time. They didn't just go cold turkey bang straight out of a bloody wheelchair. Now they're doing 10 sets of 10 on squats. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I feel like people often, especially when it comes to strength training, there's a whole bunch of discussions about this protocol, that protocol, this fantastic program, but no one rarely speaks about the mentality side of things. Can you put yourself through 5 sets of 5 training if you've never done any sort of training? It is extraordinarily difficult to get through that shit. But if you've spent, say a year doing 1 set of 5 and then 2 sets of 5 and 3, eventually 5 sets of 5 is a piece of cake, right? It's not too big of a shock to the system. And so look into training your mind as well as training your body, and I feel like the benefits will be there for you, and you will have consistency. You'll have longevity of training. But I know how it is. Like I've been there. I'm guessing we've all been there. You want the results now, and so the general thinking is the more I do right now, the better I will be. But it doesn't really work like that. It might work physically for a short period of time. But what about this? You're going to get mentally exhausted. You shouldn't be sucking the hell out of yourself up every single time you train. It shouldn't be, smelling salts before every single session. You're going to burn out, man. It has to come with ease. Konstantin, how do I say his name? Konstantinovos or something like that. The Russian fella that passed away last year. He was a powerlifter. He said something remarkable to me, and I've said it to you guys in a video before. He explained training should be like practice. It should be, actually, he said, training should be like sex without penetration. What he was trying to basically say is that it should be more like practice. It should feel easy, basically, mentally. It shouldn't feel like you're going into a freaking, street fight. It should be going through the motions somewhat. And so up here, you are always fresh and you're always ready to go for it. But if you smash yourself, if you've taken too much of a load mentally, you're most likely going to start missing sessions and you might even eventually quit. So don't kid yourself. If you've just started training, you're not a 10-year vet, you're not a 20-year vet, you need to kind of, stamp your card over time before you can get to that level. And I think that's the trouble with some of these training programs, is that people just assume everyone comes from the same background. No, you might have somebody comes into the gym that's completely new. They've never seen a gym. They've never picked up a barbell. And you want to get them to do 5 sets of 5? For how long? How long is that going to last for? These people are going to tap out in 2-3 weeks because they can't take it mentally. They can be exhausted. Their bodies might be able to take it, but they're going to lose the motivation, the consistency up there. Ease people into it. And that's the message I want to get people to think about. The mind is also very, very important when it comes to training. That's what I feel. I feel like we see it on the professional level, we see it down on the novice level as well. Anyway, that's my little rant for today. Thanks for listening, fellas. See ya.